Welcome to the channel where we dive deep into global affairs and explore the untold stories shaping our world today. In today's video, we uncover the alarming revelation by Microsoft regarding CCP hackers compromising critical US infrastructure, while the Department of Homeland Security issues a warning of a grave threat. Join us as we dissect the implications, discuss the rise of the Degrowth movement, and shed light on the dangers of woke imperialism. Get ready for a thought-provoking journey that challenges prevailing narratives. Before we get into the next segment, Chinese war games simulating massive losses for US aren't just propaganda, experts say. Now, I want to say something real quick. One, thank you to anyone who's a United States veteran or a veteran around the globe. Appreciate the service. However, I would like to point out one interesting tidbit. In Bakhmut, a restaurant owner, 60,000 convicts destroyed an army that NATO trained for 9 years and pumped billions of dollars into. Reminds me of the farmers in sandals that kicked the US out of Afghanistan. The US government spends $1 trillion per year on the military and can't win anything. So gives you something to think about, and I understand that's not the individual troops on the ground's fault, but our Congress critters. Back to the article, pointing out, if we can't win a war there, going against a peer-to-peer foe is going to inflict serious casualties. I don't think the United States is ready for that. Now, a war game conducted by Chinese scientists found that Beijing's military could demolish a U.S. aircraft carrier group with a relatively small number of hypersonic missiles, which, devil's advocate, the United States could do the exact same to them, of course, but that's not what this article's about. China's capable of seriously threatening the U.S. fleet, and some suggested that the simulation may not be far from reality. The U.S. will take devastating losses in a war over Taiwan, so I don't think we can dismiss it as pure propaganda, Lyle Goldstein, director of the Asia Engagement Program at Defense Priorities, told DCNF. Chinese scientists published a combat simulation in which Beijing's forces annihilated a U.S. aircraft carrier. Over the course of 20 simulated battles, China sank the USS Gerald Ford carrier fleet with multiple successful volleys of hypersonic missiles that could suggest serious problems for the U.S. military in a real-world conflict. Microsoft says CCP hackers compromise critical U.S. infrastructure as Department of Homeland Security warns of grave threat. Of course, you guys saw within the last 20 hours, Microsoft was experiencing all kinds of issues. We're going to talk about that now. Chinese state-sponsored hacking group Volt Typhoon has compromised critical U.S. cyber infrastructure across several industries, including manufacturing, construction, maritime, government, information technology, and education. The group, which has operated since 2021, is apparently working to disrupt critical communications infrastructure between the United States and Asia in order to weaken efforts during future crises. Of course, that's out of CNBC. Meanwhile, the Department of Homeland Security has warned the CCP presents a grave threat to the U.S. homeland, and they're a long-term threat. Each year, the CCP's economic espionage against American businesses costs between $225 to $600 billion. $600 billion. That is a lot of moolah. It is indisputable that the CCP is actively trying to undermine the economy and security of the United States, and they are our greatest long-term threat. Now, something that absolutely blew my mind that Ian Miles Chong posted, the degrowth movement is growing. It's decolonization and all other forms of woke imperialism wrapped into a clear, coherent agenda to depopulate, decivilize, and deindustrialize mankind. Now, I'd like you guys to listen to this clip, and I'll put a timestamp so you guys can skip ahead, but I think you should really listen to this out of the EU's parliament.
Infinite growth on finite resources is not only a myth, but it's extractivist and ruthlessly oppressive by design. So when talking about growth and defending growth, there is a very important first question that we need to ask ourselves. Who are we growing this economy for? And what stories do we use to justify it? We have to acknowledge what lays below our growth. White supremacy, colonialism, and imperialism. White supremacy justifies a global system of exploitation and extractivism. Colonialism lays at the foundations of the European economy, institutions, corporate value chains, trade deals, investment agreements, and geopolitical structures of wealth accumulation, which means that there is no degrowth without decolonization.
I'm going to stop it there. These people are absolutely unhinged, insane, batshit crazy, and they should be institutionalized. Make no mistake, you are the carbon footprint they want to erase, and the colonizers they want to decolonize. So, some food for thought. Now, Chinese malware hits systems on Guam. Is Taiwan the real target? Something out of the New York Times, which I don't give much strength to. The code, which Microsoft said was installed by a Chinese government hacking group, set off alarms because Guam would be a centerpiece of any U.S. military response to a move against Taiwan. Again, if you guys haven't already, go ahead and hit the like button. Really going to help me out. Subscribe with the notification bell and leave a comment down below. And as our relations continue to decline and erode further, Chinese president says Beijing and Moscow to continue to back each other on core issues. Of course, an interesting one, Miami Beach honors nation with Taiwan Day, and a little bit of a little provocative jab towards Asia. And Iran seeks deeper ties with emerging economies in Asia, as well as, of course, more countries move towards the BRICS. An analysis, high risk of Hezbollah attack on Israel. Of course, we can't forget about the Middle East. The latest Israeli intelligence estimates signals that the risk of war with Hezbollah is now the highest in years, so I'm sure we'll be funding both the Ukrainians, the Taiwanese, and continuing to send infinite money and arms to Israel as well. Iran says it will work with inspectors after new tunnels near nuke site are uncovered. Interesting one there out of the United Arab Emirates. The head of Iran's nuclear program insisted Wednesday that his government would cooperate with international inspectors on any new activities following a report on Tehran's newly constructed underground tunnel system near a nuclear enrichment facility. Guys, they're going to get a nuke. I don't know how much clearer that needs to be. And the last article, Israeli officials expected to visit White House for talks on Iran and Saudi Arabia. Israeli Minister for Strategic Affairs and National Security Advisor are expected in Washington next week for talks at the White House as concerns grow over advances in Iran's nuclear program and as the U.S. seeks to push for an Israeli-Saudi Arabian peace deal. Four Israeli and U.S. officials told Axios the big picture. Biden said, or likely mumbled in late March, that he wasn't going to invite Netanyahu in the near future and called on him to, quote, walk away from his plan to weaken Israel's Supreme Court and other democratic institutions. Netanyahu and his advisors hope the suspension of the judicial overhaul and negotiations with the opposition about the proposed legislation could lead to an invitation from Biden. According to officials, and the U.S. officials say the White House still wants to see where the negotiations go before deciding whether to invite Netanyahu for a meeting with Biden. If you guys learn anything new, again, go ahead and leave a like. Also, a little housekeeping, quick update. Let me know how the mic sounds in this video and how the editing jumps between clips was. Really, really stupid of me. I haven't updated OBS in quite literally 2 years, so I saw a clip with all these new features that I haven't been taking advantage of, so finally got it updated where I can now start and stop recording, and I was able to apply some basic filters to the mic. So please let me know in the comments down below about both the video, where I can cut out some of the extra time that's unnecessary, and the quality of the mic. Thank you so much.